of 1999, Vladimir Putin became Russia's second president. He did not win presidential elections. He was simply placed into a presidential chair by Boris Yeltsin's family and a few oligarchs, literally a handful. He was made the president to safeguard those who made him the president and their riches. The things didn't turn out so well for the oligarchs and for Boris Yeltsin's family. It did not turn out as planned. Vladimir Putin has outsmarted them. Hey, he's a KGB officer after all. 23 years later, I'd like to talk of the results of the reign of Vladimir Putin. Let's find out what he can be proud of, or what we Russian citizens can be proud of, our president's actions. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. No propaganda, BS, or lies here. Only truth, common sense, and logic, and some emotions too, because I am a human being after all. Oh boy, it's going to be an unusual stream. I would like to talk about the results. The results. What we can show as the country, what our president can show, his deeds that he's done in the past 23 years. In Russia, we have a saying, the chicks are counted in the fall. Well, this is fall of 2023, and it's time to count the chicks. This is what I have figured out Vladimir Putin has done to Russia in the last 23 years. Number one, starting the war with its close neighbor, Ukraine. It's still unthinkable. It's very tragic. It's phantasmagorical. Number two, killing hundreds of thousands Russians and Ukrainians, unthinkable. Incredibly tragic. Phantasmagorical. It's still hard to believe that it has happened. Number three, creating an effective propaganda machine. The government-controlled Russian propaganda machine is so effective that it's made 80% of Russian population to believe that the war with Ukraine is just to support the war and willing to go back to the USSR. Despite that most people did live in the USSR and they remember how horrible USSR was. Number four, creating the shipple. Now, Russia has majority of citizens who are passive, don't think critically, watch TV as major entertainment and drink a lot. They are perfect citizens for a totalitarian government. They have been engineered. Number five, creating a state-controlled system called the vertical of power. A system where some government agencies called siloviki are allowed to legally use violence against Russian citizens to keep them under control. The vertical of power is a system that it has been keeping Vladimir Putin in power, actually. Otherwise, he'd be out of the door a long time ago. Number six, creating a suppressive legislation system. Government absolute control over Russian people has been legitimized through a system of new laws. The total control has been made perfectly legal. Number seven, destruction of education system. The purpose of Russia's education system now is to indoctrinate and condition, not educate children. Number eight, creating the biggest government corruption system. Russia is perhaps one of the biggest corruption states in the world now. Number nine, destruction of middle class. The members of middle class are smart, well-traveled, ask government many uncomfortable questions, and want to know how their taxes are spent. Therefore, middle class is not needed. It's destructive to the government. It's dangerous. Well, very little middle class in Russia still exists. It's been shrunk on purpose. Number 10, the rise of KGB. The KGB is running Russia again. It seems like the Russians don't learn from history and they don't learn from their past mistakes. Unbelievable. Number 11, destruction of the Russian army. The Russian army has been turned into a way to steal money from the Russian taxpayers. Trillions of rubles have been spent on numerous fake military projects such as research and development and manufacturing of new missiles, tanks, submarines, aircraft, missile defense system, that's supposed to be the best in the world. Absolute most of these things exist only on paper in numerous plans and reports. In reality, no one has researched or manufactured anything. Most elite and combat-ready units have been disbanded or weakened. The dozens of trillions of taxpayers' rubles over 23 years that were supposed to modernize and train the armed forces have been stolen. The destroyed image, number 12, the destroyed image of the Russian Army, Air Force and Navy. It was considered that the Russian Federation has the second strongest army in the world. The might of Russian armed forces has turned out to be, a fake. The entire world is laughing at Russian armed forces now. Number 13, the loss of the monopoly of natural gas and oil supply to Europe. Russia had been selling natural gas and oil to Europe for over 56 years. Due to close proximity to the source and an existing pipeline delivery systems, Russian oil and gas were way above competition. No one could compete with them. Exports of fossil fuels to Europe had been the bread maker of Russia, the solid foundation of Russian economy. The European markets have been lost permanently. The bread maker is no more. Number 14, the destruction of the Russian economy. Russia has been, has seen pretty bad economic times in its long history. And I'm talking in modern history, in about 120 years, past years. But what's been done to Russian economy now, including ousting from the global financial markets, multiple bans of oil and natural gas exports, introduction of state-controlled economy, etc. So it's the worst crisis in Russia's modern history. The economic abyss that Russia has fallen into is really hard to estimate now. Number 15, devaluation of Russian currency, ruble. When Putin became the president on the last day of 99, $1 American could buy 28 Russian rubles. In August 2023, $1 American could buy 103 Russian rubles. Russian ruble has devalued almost four times. In 2023, Russian ruble made the list of top 3 world's worst performing currencies. Number 16, losing an astronomical amount of taxpayers' money. Due to Russia waging the war in Ukraine, the international community has frozen over $400 billion in various state Russian assets, and that amount could be used to make lives of Russian citizens, regular people, so much better. Imagine what could be done for $400 billion. Instead, the assets will be used to restore the damage that was done in Ukraine. Number 17, povertization of Russian population. Roughly half of Russia's population do not receive income to cover basic needs. Number 18, destruction of public healthcare. The state has changed the public healthcare system, introducing private medicine and making free public healthcare less available to regular people. Hey, you gotta pay now. Number 19, making Russia an international pariah. Russia has been isolated from the international community politically and excluded from various international organizations, including the UN Human Rights Council. Number 20, exclusion of Russia from the international sports. The International Olympic Committee has suspended Russia from participating in the following Olympics, depriving it the right to act as a National Olympic Committee. From now on, the Russians will be able to compete at the Summer and Winter Olympic Games that are coming up exclusively as neutral flag athletes. Most of international sports organizations federations have also kicked Russia out. Number 21, the biggest people exodus Russia has ever seen. Over 3 million of Russian citizens and residents have fled Russia in the last 20 months. They are country's so-called golden human assets. Most who have left are specialists, scientists, experts with higher education, high level of confidence, ability to learn and adapt, fearless, speak different languages, full of energy, independent, critical thinking, thinkers with resistance to propaganda. They are the cream of the crop. They add value to country's economy, to Russia's economy, any economy. They create jobs, they generate taxes. Most have left Russia permanently with no intentions of coming back. Number 22. Russians aren't welcome in the world any longer. Russian citizens have been greatly restricted in rights. The international travel has been greatly limited. Ability to do business and open bank accounts has been restricted. Russian citizens, big and small, aren't welcomed in many places in the world any longer. A large number of countries have closed consulates and pulled the diplomats out of Russia. Nearly impossible for Russians to have travel visas issued for many countries. Number 23, residence and citizenship restrictions for Russian citizens. Many countries have restricted or prohibited residence and citizenship for Russian nationals. Number 24, the exodus of Western business from Russia. Most Western companies have permanently left Russia. They eliminated jobs, pulled their products off Russian markets, closed down manufacturing, and took nearly all technologies away. Number 25, all private investments disappearing. Both Russian and Western private investors have fled Russia. Well, they're smart, they're not stupid. The government has created such terrible investment conditions that it is safe to say that Russia will not see any private investments for decades, perhaps generations to come. Number 26, international travel bans. Numerous countries have banned flights out of Russia and to Russia. The European Union has restricted automobile traveling from Russia. Some countries have outright banned entry of Russian citizens to their countries. Number 27, scientific and cultural exchange and cooperation programs have been banned. Numerous countries have terminated or greatly restricted scientific and educational programs and ties with Russia. Cultural exchange and cooperation has also been restricted or outright banned. Number 28, Russian financial system is restricted. Most Russian banks, with very few exceptions, have been banned from the international finance system and shut off SWIFT interbanking transactioning. Russian banks are banned from borrowing money overseas. Russian government cannot borrow money abroad. There is a ban on Russian debt. Number 29, diplomatic limitations. There have been mass deportations of Russian spies in diplomatic missions and official diplomats in many countries all over the world. Number 30, the political opposition targeted. Russia has become a world leader in the number of political poisonings and murders. Falling out of the window and the Russian tea, they have become well-known expressions. When told, everyone understands that, they're talking about Russia. Number 31, delegitimization of Russia as a world power. Russia has been kicked out of G8. Now it's called G7. Russia's president has lost all legitimacy and, that he had once. Number 32, the cult of Putin is born. Russia once saw the cult of Stalin. Nothing good came out of it. Tens of millions murdered, and the country became absolute dictatorship, and it was not a good country to live in. Now the Russians are seeing the cult of Putin being born in front of their eyes that nearly mirrors the cult of Stalin. And it can be guaranteed that nothing good will come out of it as well. Number 33, further international political isolation and demonization of Russia. Russia gets closer by the day to the exclusion from the UN Security Council and being declared a terrorist state. Number 34, imperialization. Russia is retracting the cult of imperialism in the era when all existing empires are collapsing. Number 35, destroying personal freedoms and depriving the rights. Many personal freedoms, most personal freedoms, have been cancelled, taken away. The right to assemble, the right to protest, the right to speak freely, the right to criticize the government, among others, have been taken away from the Russian citizens. Number 36, constructing new Iron Curtain. Not only Russia is being isolated from the outside, it's restricting its citizens traveling and communicating with the outside world, just like the restriction in the former USSR was. Not only an Iron Curtain is being built around Russia from the outside, the Russian government is building the second inner Iron Curtain to keep the citizens inside. Number 37, construction of a new digital Iron Curtain. Russian government is controlling a great deal of internet and electronic communications now. Boy, the future is looking even grimmer. Number 38, creating a total state control system. Russian government has created state-owned and controlled electronic surveillance system that leaves no chance whatsoever to any kind of privacy for regular people. Russian government knows what anyone does, where anyone is at any moment, and basically can predict the actions based on artificial intelligence. KGB AI. Number 39, Russia's president is wanted by Hague International Crime Squad. There's a warrant for Vladimir Putin arrest issued by the Hague International Crime Squad. That's unbelievable. Number 40, Russia's president is internationally recognized as illegitimate president. The Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe anonymously adopted a resolution calling on the member of state of Council of Europe to recognize Vladimir Putin as an illegitimate president after his term expires in 2024. And it is calling to stop all the contacts with Russia if Putin remains the president after his term expires. Number 41, Russia boosting NATO. By waging a war on Ukraine, Russia has boosted once weakening NATO. NATO has become the strongest in its history now. It possesses a new mission to defend the world from militaristic expanding Russia. 2 new members have joined the bloc, always neutral Finland and Sweden. They have been forced by Russia to seek protection inside NATO. The length of land borders with NATO countries have nearly doubled. NATO has surrounded Russia westwards, courtesy to Vladimir Putin's decisions. Number 42, Russia losing control of the Baltic Sea. The Baltic Sea is becoming the inner sea of the NATO countries, and in the future, the Gulf of Finland and even the entire Baltic Sea could be close to the passage of Russian ships. Number 43, territorial and political threat from China. Russia is becoming greatly dependent on China as the only trade partner, significant trade partner. The risk of becoming natural resource colony of China and losing a great deal of land called Manchuria to China has become nearly inevitable. Number 44, reparations to Ukraine after the end of the war. Russia will be forced to pay reparations to Ukraine for decades to come. That, along with China problem, will become a tremendously large burden to Russia's future primitive. Well, all right, I'll be nice. I'll say simplified and simplified and technology-less economy without technology. So, that'll be a great burden to simplify the economy. Number 45, the loss of aviation industry. Russia does not possess any technologies to manufacture civil aircrafts. Currently, aviation industry is on the decline. There's no access to foreign-made airplanes maintenance and no spare parts. Some come from China and some are bought circumventing the sanctions, but that's not going to last for a long time. Eventually, country's aviation industry will decline to a point of nearly extinction. Number 46, loss of oil and gas extraction and refining. Russia does not possess any oil extraction and refining technologies. Absolute majority of special equipment came from abroad in the past, and foreign companies outsourced the extraction research, and all the technologies. With all Western companies gone, oil and gas extraction and refining industry will be shrinking. Number 47, instability in Russia's region of Caucasus. Russia's southern part, called Northern Caucasus, is quickly becoming the center of civil unrest. The signs are already here. Recent manhunt for Jews in the Republic of Dagestan indicates that the Northern Caucasus is becoming a hotspot, potentially a catalyst for unrest in other Russia's regions. On top of that, Northern Caucasus is quickly falling under the influence of Turkey. Folks, I could come up with probably 50 more results of Putin's 20-year-old reign. What I talked about just now seems to be the most important, okay? Summing up, it's safe to say that Russia has been destroyed in many ways. Militarily, economically, culturally, religiously, scientifically, athletically, you name it. Putin's reign main result is that he stole Russia's future. At this point, there's not much hope, really. If Russians want to take their country back, the control of their country back, if they want to take their lives back, they've got to work very hard and very long, decades, perhaps generations. The Germany is a good example. Look, they started in 1945 and, they're still working on it. What makes Russia different? Nothing. That's just a few decisions and actions of one little angry man. It's unbelievable. When Putin came to power on the last day of 99, Russia was rising. Not because Putin, he didn't do zilch. I've said many times, Russia had very tough 10 years, from 91 to 2000, because communism was being replaced by capitalism, and the smooth change cannot happen overnight. It always takes a long time. It takes years, decades for people to switch their mentality from socialism or communism to capitalism. And Russians did that. They went through a very hard time. They had the hardest behind them, okay? Toward 2000, Russia started rising as a country, rising from ashes. And this is when Vladimir Putin showed up, and just one little angry man. And now, if we look back in 2000, there was hope. There was a feeling that future will bring something good, that there's light, we see it, and we go toward the light. The mood was on the uprise. The mood was good. The mood was, we've done it. Everything's going to be better. Day by day, we'll have better lives and better world. If we look at today's Russia, we will see a completely different picture. There's no future. There's no light. No one understands where the country is going. No one understands where he or she is going. Depression, post-traumatic syndrome. People don't understand what the war is about, People who don't understand how quickly this Hydra, KGB and all power block agencies, siloviki, how quickly they were reborn and how quickly they came back to the USSR time, how quickly this repression machine was rebuilt. This is a completely different situation from 23 years ago. Unbelievable. Is it Putin's fault? Yes, of course. Is it solely Putin's fault? Oh, hell no. Of course not. It is our mutual fault. We, the citizens of Russia, have allowed Putin to create his system that, 23 years later fetched these sad results. He is most certainly been the driving force behind everything, all the actions that led to these results. Folks, what you have heard today is a great example of what happens when the government, led by one person or a few people, usurps the power and makes it absolute. I warn you, and I hope that you listen very carefully. Don't let your politicians and government run unchecked. They will ruin your country and your lives. Please learn from our mistakes. Do not make yours. Folks, this has been my message for today. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much. I invite everyone to join the live stream chat. If you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and let's talk. Let me turn on the live stream chat on. And while I'm doing that, I would like to humbly ask you to help me out. Please hit the like button and help me spread the message by making reposts in your social media accounts. That helps a lot. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee or a tea, I wouldn't mind. Thank you so much. The live stream chat is on. Fantastic to see everyone. This is my most favorite part of any stream. If you're not seeing it, please hit the refresh button and it'll appear. Thank you. So, folks, I hope that you find today's stream informative and interesting. Not really pleasant, at least to the Russians. Russians hate to listen for things like that, because they understand it's right. I speak to lots of Russians, and we discuss these things. They'd rather not listen because it hurts. Anyway, if you're here for the first time, please know that this channel and this community has the best moderation team on internet. Lorna, Mami K, Bob S, Harry Podnin, and Amir Fazad. Thank you so much. Great people and excellent mods. And the usual suspects, people who come back here regularly. It's fantastic to see you. It's my honor and my pleasure. Thank you for coming. If you want me to notice the message easier, please put it in all caps and put inside Russia the channel's name after @ so it appears highlighted in a large orange box and I see it easily. Just like Harry Podnin did. Thank you, Harry. The usual suspects. Fantastic to see everyone. Thank you for coming. Tom W. I'll be reading the ones in caps and highlighted in orange. Leitmotif for me, howdy. Isma, Dirk, Roy Cousins, Johnny, Dave Strains in the top 5. Always on top, friend. Pamela J, Julie W, fantastic to see everyone. Baker Stock, thank you so much for coming. Good to see you. Searching for the first question. Sam K, howdy. Veronica, hello. Tom W. Andrew Hodson, all the way from South Africa, hello. Nell B, I absolutely agree with you. The mods are the best in the land. Keith from Hawaii, aloha. Katharina Holm, thank you for being a sponsor for 13 months. Great to have you. Thank you. Thanks for liking the message and hitting the like button. Tom W, thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you. Wow, Bruce, welcome. Great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. It's fantastic. We miss you. Angela McNaugh, thank you. Dan Taylor, the first question of the day. How does it end for Putin? It's not going to end well. I don't see one single scenario that actually somehow is favorable for Putin. In the last months, he's been losing control. He's been becoming weaker. And it's pretty public. He's shown that. There are so many occasions that he looked weak, he looked out of control. And when you are in charge of such a large country and such a large suppressing system, the vertical of power, when you have so much force underneath you and the force must listen to you, every single word, and if they don't listen, you punish them, okay? You show that you are the strongest wolf in the pack. Once you don't show that, that's watch your back, what was the main most common reason for the emperors in the Roman Empire to lose their lives. Their bodyguards, the Praetorians, they were involved in nearly half of deaths of, the emperors. So if I were Putin, I'd be very worried. He's gonna go one way or another. So I don't see how it ends for Putin favorably. Hey, Andrew, thank you so much from Canada. The support and the question. After the fall of the Soviet Union, the West tried to help Russians. I doubt it'll be this way when Russia collapses again. I absolutely agree with you. I made streams in the past about that. I actually think that West didn't do enough. But hey, that's a different story. And it did try to help, yes. And I absolutely agree that once this regime will collapse, Russia will be isolated and will be left under control. But I doubt it's gonna take its place as it used to have in the past, So yeah, thanks for supporting, and totally agree with you. Bicycle Sunday, when does Dagestan and Chechnya leave? Oh, I don't know. We'll see. KG1, thank you so much. Who would Putin have as his successor? Are they all now brainwashed to his way of thinking? No, my friend, no. They're not brainwashed. They are for themselves, okay? They're not brainwashed on that level because, they're after the absolute power, the absolute trophy, so to speak. I don't know who Putin would leave as his successor. One of the successors is Mishustin, the prime minister. Looks like it buffered a little bit. Interesting. Anyway, the heck. Yeah, could you let me know, please, if it's buffering or not? Well, hopefully it's going to be buffering free. Anyway, Mishustin is one of the names, the prime minister, current prime minister. There are other names, but it's really too early to say. I don't have a feeling of what's going on in terms of Putin's successor, so we'll see. Please keep on tuning in. Tune in every day, and I'll make sure that I'll keep you informed on what's going on. And that's a super interesting topic about who's going to be Putin's successor. By the way, there are rumors that Putin will announce that he's running for the second term, not second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth term, okay, on December either 13th or 15th. And at this point, it's very strange because he should have announced by now that he's running for another term. He hasn't for some reason. That could be a sign that the transfer of power is in the process of cooking. But anyway, please keep on tuning in. I will definitely let you know. Andrew Baker, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it very much. And Michael Silberg, good to see you again. Will Russia have to be occupied and administrated by a Western power like Germany and Japan in World War II before there's a mechanism to achieve democracy? Michael, I have thought about that. I don't know. You see, there was a war between Germany and Japan and the rest of the world, the USA, Russia, the USSR, and the Western world moved into Germany and Japan as the winners in the war. I don't understand how the West can move into Russia. I don't understand the justification among Russian people. Anyway, It'll depend on how Russia will fall apart. Is it going to be bad or is it going to be fairly smooth? The transition from this current system to a new one. And I think that's what's going to be the key moment to watch for. Bradel, are there any hopes that Putin's successor will be helpful to the people of Russia? Not one single chance. If the successor is decided among the power groups, no. The successor will be helpful to the power groups, to the politicians, to the oligarchs. That's it. The only person in Russia who might be helpful to the people of Russia is the person who will come from the people of Russia. Things gonna be changed upside down in Russia for that to happen, you know. Katharina and Bruce, yeah, congratulations. And, you know, I'd like to say thank you again for being such loyal supporters. Thank you so much. Nation Demon, howdy. Koshkin Dom, hello. E. Austin, even though you made a long list, it's still better than what we face in the West. You really surprised me. I mean, what's so bad that you're facing in the West that they're saying that? Could you please give me a few examples? What is so worst? What is so bad that you're facing? I've heard people complain in the West saying, oh, we don't have it good either, you know, we're having it terrible. I have one piece of advice for you. Leave everything what you're doing right now and how you're living and go and move to Russia. And live in Russia for at least 6 months. Not as a tourist, but rent yourself an apartment. Try to go along with, you know, bureaucratic procedures. Get yourself a residency through a public office. Go stand in lines. Try to find yourself a job in Russia. Make some money, make a living. You know, 6, perhaps 12 months. And only after, you know, you do that, after you're done, come back and complain about the West. Then compare Russia to the West, okay? Sean, howdy friend. Trust is easily lost and difficult to restore. Spot on. No matter what happens next, it'll take a very long time to rebuild relationship with Russia. Thank you for the 20 coffees. Sean usually buys coffees at buymeacoffee.com. I appreciate it very much. It's huge. Sean, you're spot on. You know, you're so right. It's going to take, my bet, it's going to take 2 generations at least. Most Russians are still clueless what they're facing. It just puzzles me, and that's actually amuses me, you know. When I speak to people in Russia saying, oh, you know, you can't go, once the war is over, everything's going to go back to normal. What's going to go back to normal? You know, all the cars will come back, all the companies will come back, the investments will come back. What are you smoking? Investments will come back for what? For the foreigners to invest in Russia for the next 10 years and then all the assets be stolen again? I don't think so. You know, and then when I say, well, you know, there will be reparations, Russia will be paying to restore Ukraine, oh, they get mad. Why would we? You know, what have we done? I've done nothing wrong. And when I say, well, you're going to have a personal tax to restore Ukraine, you know, added to your salaries, perhaps, boy, they go irate. Anyway, thank you, Sean. Thank you. You're so right. E. Austin, thank you. You actually followed up. I really appreciate it. Now let's talk about it. No fault evictions, Food Bank Britain. The economy has totally tanked. Our healthcare has almost vanished. It's even difficult to actually see a doctor. There are now only 2 political parties. That's one more party than that the Russians have. Well, let's go by number 1, no-fault evictions. I can't really comment here. I don't know. In Russia, we've always had no-fault evictions. The renters have no rights whatsoever. So the guy shows up who you rent from, your landlord, and says, you're out in 2 weeks. And you're out in 2 weeks, you know. You can't go and sue. You can't go to court. You don't have any. So it's basically the same. Food Bank, Britain. I've been to Britain. I've been to the, you know, I mean, I perhaps things have gone so bad since I was there last time, but I was in London and I was seeing nice restaurants, people living good lives, lots of food. You know, I don't know how to comment on that. The economy has totally tanked. Last time I was in Dubai, there were English people all over Dubai spending lots of money, and they made look everyone in Dubai like poor because they have British pounds and you know, it's just spending everything. Our healthcare has almost vanished. Can't comment on that. I don't know. It's even difficult to actually see a doctor again. Can't comment. And 2 political parties, it's actually not too bad. At least there are 2. When you have 1, then that's going to be trouble. Carson Larimore, thank you so much. Thank you, friend. As long as Russia owns nuclear weapons, no other country can police its rebuilding. Agreed, yes. It's up to Russia on what kind of change it wants. Agreed. Personally, I don't see any change. Our lives are much deeper, and much more colorful than any of our understanding of our lives, you know. So we don't know. Anything might happen. But I agree with you on the nuclear weapons, unless Russians invite, you know, not police in rebuilding, but, you know, help in rebuilding or something like that. That's why I'm saying that a new leader must come from within, from the people, wishing best for the people, not for the government, okay? Ooh. Why couldn't I be a travel blogger or, I don't know, fashion blogger or I don't know, food blogger, something like that. I'd be talking about food, pleasant, nice. Oh, let's cook this, let's cook that. Instead, I'm talking about things that are burning me from the inside, you know. My country is falling freaking apart in front of my eyes. The country I loved so much that I left my life in the USA. Very good life, very comfortable, with good potentials, good, you know, prospects. And came back to live in Russia because I loved it so much. And now this country is just falling apart in front of my eyes. Some people have taken it and taken all the power and enslaving everyone. And everyone is happy to be enslaved. I don't know. I wish I could cry. That probably would make me feel better. Putin is conducting special wreck his own country operation. When I hear everything is going according to the plan, I cringe. What a freaking plan. And I didn't mean to say freaking. I think you understood what I wanted to say. Jekyll N, thank you so very much. Usually there's no message from you, but this message this time, it's very special. Thank you. Anything is possible. Even China's emperor, in his own way, is begging for the West to reinvest in China yesterday at APEC. That's actually, thank you. You are so right. Anything is possible. There's a saying in Russian, our life is so much more colorful and so much deeper than any of our imagination of life. Okay, I struggle translating it into English. But anyway, you are so spot on. Anything can happen, anything possible. Let's say China now turns away from Russia. China somehow makes a deal with the USA, and parts of that deal would be to stop buying Russian oil, to stop trading with Russia, and, that's enough. And then what? What will Russia do? If China cuts off everything, disaster is not even the word. Okay, so you're absolutely right. Anything is possible. And by the way, thanks for coming back every stream, and thanks for super chatting quite often. Thank you so much. Doug, howdy, friend. João Marinos, howdy. Here in Portugal, cabinet minister and some government members were jailed and the government fell. New elections in March. State and democracy functioning. Stop complaining with a full belly. I don't think you meant it to me. I thought you meant it to somebody else. Well, I am well aware of Portugal. I'm aware of such a fantastic country with beautiful nature. Lots of Russians actually departed Uzbekistan, headed to Portugal. I'm not sure how about now, but 1 year ago it was fairly easy to become a resident. You were given out nomad visas. Basically, you land to Portugal, get this special visa, open a company, and pay taxes in Portugal. I was actually thinking of doing that for some time. Joe McMahon, I feel better, please. Marie Neeson, Britain is not that bad. We can get medications. We can get free diabetic medications. It's a bit hard with interest charges, but hopefully it should be forced just a short time. You know what I can tell you about the UK, the United States, Australia? Okay, life is never uniform. It has periods of prosperity, periods of hard times, bad times, good times. What democracy is all about is getting through the hard times and coming back to the good times, okay? That's what is lacking in Russia, okay? Because no one wants to make lives of people better. No one is interested. People in power, they have a completely different goal. They want to keep their power for as long as possible. That's it. There's nothing else. In the UK, in Britain, you have two parties, political parties. They fight, okay? That's good. And I'm pretty darn sure that the Brits are smart, wise enough, and active enough to actually not to let the country fall apart. The bad times happen, but they will be over. The good times will come back. And that's the strength of Britain. Wolfhound, thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. I'm not sure what you gave me thumbs up for. LJ, Britain has changed a lot in the last few years. The government are milking us. Everything has nearly doubled in price, but that's down to choices made by government, not actual events happening around the world. Listen to this, everyone. Lately, I've been making this comparison to now it's 2023. The war with Ukraine started in 22. In Russia, the hard times, they started 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea and started this havoc in Donbass. Now, remember what happened 100 years ago exactly? 1914? Do you remember what happened? World War I started. 1917, the revolution, Russian Bolshevik Revolution. 1921, 22, 23, the Civil War, the exodus of Russians left all over the world, okay? The Europe was going through hard time. Germany, the economy nearly was destroyed, okay? The Great Britain was not doing well economically, was hard times. We're going through the same period as we went 100 years ago exactly. And I believe that this period of hardship and craziness will end, okay, sooner or later. And we will enter the period of prosperity again. Paula W., interesting. RT Russian news tells the Russians that the Brits are so bad that they eat squirrels and the rich women have to clean houses in sexy outfits. There's more they lie about. This is actually funny. Folks, I'm going to tell you something very interesting. You will not find it anywhere. Okay, happened to me. I am a member. Obviously, I know quite a few Russians. I was born and raised. I went to high school. I went to university in Russia. And I still keep in touch with my classmates, and I still keep in touch with my fellows that I went to the university with. We are members of different groups, and usually we meet virtually every day in chats, in Telegram, in WhatsApp. It's very common in Russia. So, unfortunately, I don't know how it happened, but most people in one of my groups, I'm not going to tell you which one, but people that I spent quite a bit of time with, shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow when I was young, somehow they turned out to be, what's the right word? Crazy. And they supported what they call the special military operation, what I call the war. And I did not leave the chat. I did not leave the group, only because I like to look what they discuss. I like to see what their mood is and things like that. So last summer, it was hurting me to see what they were writing. They were totally for support of the war. And moreover, they were bashing Europe big time. RT or other news outlets would release a news saying, hey, the Brits will eat squirrels. And they would fall for it somehow. They would start discussing, oh, you see what's happening in Europe. In the winter, they're going to be eating squirrels or rats or whatever, And then, of course, this infamous commercial, the winter will be long and cold, okay? And then they show us the Europeans, sleeping in their coats inside. It's cold, frozen, and everything, And they discuss, and they're like, oh, you see what's going on in Europe? You see, they should have listened to us. They should have made friends with us. We can supply them gas and so forth, So this, I'm giving you this story so you understand. Now, a couple days ago, big news everywhere in Russia. Russian company will be growing, it's like a fly farm. It'll be growing tons of flies, and the flies will be processed and used as a protein for food for people. And it's crazy, okay? And one of the people who was bashing Europeans for eating squirrels and rats and cats in the future, everyone was silent about the news, and he was the activist, oh, the Europeans should listen to us and so forth. So he seemed confused, and he said, wait a second, they were telling us that Europeans will be eating bugs and will be eating rats, but now they making us eat it. It's like something's really wrong. So Paula W, this is a true story. This is what happened to me and to people I know. So hopefully they will wake up one day, because one thing is when they tell you from the TV that Europeans will eat bugs, and another thing is when you start eating bugs, that kind of wakes you up, wake up call. So we'll see. Michael Silberg, again, apologies for the tough questions. Hey, no apologies needed. That's totally fine. It's tough life. It's not tough questions. Is there a self-perpetrating kill or be killed philosophy deeply integrated and dominate and subjugate others, or it'll happen to you, integrated top to bottom? It'd be good if I understood the question first. Is there a self-perpetrating kill or be killed philosophy deeply integrated and dominate and subjugate others, or it'll happen to you? It wasn't, but since Russia invaded Ukraine and started the war, now people are leaning towards this philosophy, kill or be killed. I've heard many times this very widespread opinion, we should have not invaded Ukraine. It was a big mistake. But once it's already done, we can't stop halfway. So basically, this is this philosophy, kill or be killed. This really amazes me, okay? And where have the empathy of people have gone to? I've stopped talking to some people because they were trying to feed me that crap, okay? So, yes, it's a tough question. It's okay. No apologies needed. And yes, there is self-perpetrating this kill or be killed philosophy among other people in Russia. Daniel McInnes from Canada, thank you so much for coming back, friend. I really appreciate your support. Thank you. E. Austin, the alternative party in the UK, has lost its voice. We left the EU and now annoying every other country in the world. The politicians wanted to decide who lives and dies during COVID. More. Well, it's sad to hear. That's all I gotta say. Andrew Warren, will Russia try to outsuffer the West? And how far? I'm not sure what you mean outsuffer. Russia is not just suffering. Russia is transforming into a very uncomfortable place to live. I'm not sure what you mean that it's going to outsuffer the West. Craig Hughes, UK inflation dropped to 4.6%. Interest rates 6.25. Gas bills dropped significantly from last year, £795. Well, that's kind of what I mean, Craig. You will get back to normal. Hard times do happen, and sometimes they depend on you, your country. Sometimes it's just outside influence. Okay, your life is never always happy. There are times of sadness. There are times of happiness. Same for the countries. But you will get better. You will get back to where you shine. And I have no question about the Brits. Okay, you guys are awesome. James, thank you so much from Poland. I don't know how, but listening to you, Constant, always gives me some hope. Things are gonna be okay. Oh my God. Thank you. Can I get some of that hope? Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, speaking to a person from Poland, from the Baltics, from the Eastern Europe, former Eastern Europe, always warms my heart. Thank you. One of the brightest moments I've had recently was I walked into a breakfast club, and there was a Polish couple waiting for me and Natasha, and they jumped and they said, well, we came to visit you in Tashkent. And I was like, wow, this is insane. So anyway, James, thank you. Thank you so much. Time's up, says Nightbot. Okay. Just one more question, and that's it. Roy Cousins, I prefer venison to squirrels. Well, Russians like venison too, but soon they'll be eating flies. Dave Strains, howdy, thank you. Sam K, I'm experiencing Groundhog Day. I heard the stream twice. Not sure what you mean. Time's up, says Nightbot. Vermins, insects, or rodents. I know that the fly is definitely insects. That's what the Russians gonna be eating soon. Robert Whip, thank you so much. Simply for the best family of Russia. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Corey McGillis, thank you. Did you see that Russia owns 50% of nuclear plants? Not only I saw that, I know that because I am in the energy business. Well, I was in the energy business, and I know Russian energy market quite well. Yes, I think it's good technology. You know, it's cleanest, cheapest energy, fairly safe these days. Tempest X-Men 7, thank you so much. So sad, dictator Putin has completely gone mad. There's a possibility, yes. Okay. I think I haven't missed any super chats. Andrew Baker, thank you again. Okay. Folks, thank you so much. It's been a good stream. Not an easy one, as I went through all this information to come up with the results of Putin's reign, and none of them is good. I tried to think of something good, and I couldn't find. So if you find anything, let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, and please come back for another message tomorrow. And day after tomorrow, there will be a crazy news update, and then on Saturday definitely will be the private stream for sponsors and patrons. But tomorrow I'm thinking of doing a comparison of Russia and Venezuela, give you a little history of what happened in Venezuela and how Russia is following Venezuelan footsteps very closely. Anyway, so this is the draft for tomorrow's message. Thank you for coming. I, as usual, invite everyone to pray at the end of every stream. If you're religious or not religious, doesn't matter. You can call not praying, but sending good vibes, good wishes, wishing well to the people. That's what we usually do. So please join us and let's do that. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables and roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who we love and who love us and who care for us. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads peaceful and safe. Please give us wisdom to raise our children the way that when they become adults and grow up, they will make this world a better place. And they will do a better job than we have done. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, please help stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of people who are responsible and capable. Kick them in the butt. Do anything is possible for them to wake up and to make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help every single Ukrainian who has been affected by this terrible tragedy. Answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. Dear Lord, please help my country, Russia. Assemble the army of your strongest angels with sharpest swords, and have Saint Michael lead them, and send them all down to this earth as heavenly avalanche to get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country. Please have angels help good people run Russia. Make Russia, with their help, make Russia peaceful, loving, loved, respecting, and respected. Please help all those who are traveling, send them safe travels. Those who are seeking for asylum, running from the evil, send them help. Please help all the single mothers who are raising their children, struggling to make ends meet. Send help. Please help those who are helping Ukrainians, praying, opening their wallets, hearts, homes. God bless them. Please help all the Ukrainians who are suffering from the strikes right now from the Russian missiles. Send them safety. Dear Lord, please help all the sick, the hungry, the homeless, the jobless, the depressed, the betrayed, the ones with low self-esteem, and those who are having troubles with keeping their faith, those who are addicted, depressed, and not feeling well about themselves and about their lives. Send your heavenly love into their hearts, surround them with your warmth and your love, so they feel it. They feel your presence, they feel your support, and they feel your love. So they will feel better about themselves. They will get inspired. They will get up on their feet, stand tall and proud, and will have a chance for happy life. Please do that. Thank you so much for letting us assemble, letting us to get together in this community. Thank you for us to allow us to come together and pray every day. Please thank you for everyone who is praying with me or just simply watching us all pray. Please hear everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. Thank you so much. Dear Lord, I'd like to ask you for a few people, and I'll start with little girl Sarah. She's fighting for her life. Please help her recover, send her angels, and help her parents who are praying nonstop for her. Please have her recover and go back home from hospital and live with the family happily ever after. Please help Kyle E.'s wife, Joseph Johnson, those who have had some bad luck recently. May better days to come to them soon. Please help Paula McGillis, Heiji Homestead, CB, Ann Larson's daughter, Hannah, Morgan L., Terry Carter's former in-laws, T-Fall, Electron's family, John, Kurt from Colorado, Deborah, Bogey Berger and his two sons, Jason Connor, Janice Stevenson, Jay Spike, Leslie Fleming's daughter, Buzz Simmons, Sam from Kiev, Wayne, who's fighting 2 cancers, Anna in Poland, Scan's family members who are not feeling well, please send recovery, Dave, Dawn, Summers 613, Mike O'Neill, Randolph, Grace Philosophy, Julia Haney, Vasilin Lubomirov, Julie W., Liz Dumbrell, Darla, White Lightning, George Ruberty, Dave, Pam, David Porter, his family, and everyone who's in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, the Highwayman, Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Galina, Michael, Paul, Angelic at Life, Mr. Dean Spooner, his church called Our Lutheran Savior Church, Liz, Karen, Randolph, Lisa, Joe and Lee McMahon, Meta Spencer, Pamela J., and Life. Dear Lord, thank you so very much. Thank you for giving us everything. Please forgive our sins. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, amen. Thank you so much, friends, for coming again, for giving me another chance. It's my honor and pleasure to have you in this community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're awesome and you rock. There will be a message, and I'll try to make it very interesting tomorrow. Please come back. And before I sign off, I ask you to do the usual, to say along something with me. Just repeat after me as loud as you can. Carthago delenda est.